All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of One with One Nil, and I'm joined today by Optus Sport presenter and football lover Michelle Escobar. Michelle, welcome to One with One Nil. How you going?
Hello, thanks for having me on. I'm good, thanks. And you?
Good, good. So, as you know, and thank you for the support on the first one. We had Tanya Davis on the first episode of One with One Nil. We've got a couple banked up as well, but how I want to start each episode is I've asked the previous guest a question to ask me for the next guest. And Tanya, I told Tanya that you were jumping on, and her question was, what was your favorite meal from your time in Spain when you were on holiday? She said she loved your trip. She loved looking at
Ah,
your Instagram posts. So
that's a
there you
good
have it. There's your
question.
first question.
Good question. It's hard to answer because, anyone that's been to Spain knows that. Well, you don't even have to go to Spain. You just go to a Spanish restaurant, you know that they've got amazing food. As cliche as it sounds, I'd probably say like just having paella is my favorite. And it's always the best having it there. I would also say the drink, it's called Tinto de Verano, which is the summer red wine drink. That was my favorite that I discovered. I hadn't actually had it before. It's kind of like sangria, but it's really just red wine mixed with a bit of soda. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so I discovered that. Yeah, I got to try a lot of the food from the Andalusia region, which was really cool. But I had so much of it that I'm good to go for the next few years.
Awesome. No, we said it before. Everyone's over in Europe now, so
Yeah.
everyone's going over to Europe, but we've got a lot of the European countries coming to us. So before we do dive into the Women's World Cup, which obviously it's the key point for the show and the key driving factor that we want to push here to, is tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, you're on Optus Sport presenting, so a lot of people would have seen your face from there. But tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this role, and why did you want to get into presenting?
Okay, so I live in Sydney now, but I'm originally from Perth. And so that's where I was born and grew up. And yeah, I suppose like since I was a teenager, I really wanted to work in journalism and whether that would be news or sport. I've always had a love for football. My family's from Central America, so it's a part of our blood to be
Yeah, yeah.
uh, to be into football. So growing up, I wasn't into it as much. It was when I more so became a teenager, which is when I really loved it. Started following the A League and the Premier League, and really got into it then. And I suppose that's when I decided that it would be the dream to work in sport as a presenter. So I went to uni, studied journalism. My first job was in radio, which is what brought me to Sydney. That was general news, and then my following job was at Fox Sports, and so that's how I started paving the way into a sports broadcast career. And then from there, Optus Sport, and I guess the rest is history.
Awesome, awesome. Well, no, it's obviously it looks like a fun job to be a part of and covering sport. I mean, a lot of people that's their goal. So obviously doing well with that. But obviously with the Women's World Cup coming up, obviously we have the women's football it's so focused on, I guess, now trying to develop that game. What are you most excited to see coming up with that Women's World Cup, and maybe from your perspective as well, from the media point of view, being able to cover it? And are there ways where maybe you might know as well that the media are trying to do differently or continue to put a heavier focus on the game as well?
I think here at Optus Sport, we are trying to elevate it and give it the respect that it does deserve. It's, I suppose, I'm not saying anything groundbreaking and saying that it doesn't have the same level of interest and reach as the men's game, but the game is improving. But every single World Cup, it just becomes better, faster. The quality of the players is just immense as we progress. So I think from our perspective, it's just telling those stories. And for myself, growing up, yeah, there were a lot of girls that played football, but it was never something that any of us thought, oh, I wouldn't be a professional footballer, because we didn't really see it. So it's being able to give that opportunity to young girls and boys, that they can have these idols who are like Sam Kerr or Caitlin Ford or Hayley Razzo, and that's actually an attainable dream now. So just having as much visibility as possible and sharing those stories, because the hardships that the female players have is different to what the men's game would have. So just sharing all of those stories and the diversity that comes with it, really.
Definitely. And I think it's something that's been quite highlighted as well, and the fact that that's one thing that everyone can sort of agree on is let's try and help and push the game.
So my first memory, I think, from football really is it would be just watching my older brother playing. I just remember going to his games when I was little, and really enjoying watching him play. That's actually also my first memory of seeing girls play as well, because I remember there was this one particular game where on the pitch next door there were girls playing, and I was like, oh, I could play as well. But I didn't play until I was like a teenager, so I was very late coming around to it.
Yeah. Now, I mean, again, we'll bring it back to the World Cup. What do you think? What are you most excited for? And something I spoke about with Tanya on the most recent show was just I don't think fans here really understand what we're about to have and what to really expect. And I think that's
Yeah.
you hear people say maybe criticize the fact that there's been no hype about it. You always hear that there's no hype, there's no attention, nobody knows it's happening. I think once it kicks off, that's when it's sort of really got to hit people in the face, so to speak. What's something that you're most excited about, and what's something you can maybe tell even Aussie fans to sort of expect?
I think, yeah, it is. Like you said, it's not until it actually kicks off that a lot of people would take notice. I know, like football fans, are very much aware of it, but it's when it's happening that's when the rest of the population will take notice. Something that I'm super excited about is just having fans from all over the world coming to Australia for the World Cup. Like the World Cup is the biggest thing. Like it doesn't get bigger than that. So having that in Australia and New Zealand is just, it's amazing. And so being able to have people from different cultures coming here, and also people that, like Australia is so multicultural. So having fans that born and grew up here, being able to support their parents' nation or their grandparents' nation, it being their second team or their first team, that's something that will be very different, I think, to other countries as well. Just the amount of multiculturalism that there is in Australia, and there's no better game than football to be able to showcase that as well.
Definitely, 100%. Smash that. I think that's. I sort of said the same thing as well. And the most exciting part is just having so many people, different people, in the same place. I think as
Yeah.
we see, especially here in Melbourne, with the when we have the Australian Open on, you'll see there's people coming down from wherever it is to support their own. And now it's a team sport too, so naturally you just get the bigger crowds, to get the bigger fan bases. So I think that's definitely super exciting to see. How important do you think the Matildas' success is, especially in this tournament? Is it the thing of it's a do or die, so to speak, where the Matildas have to do well for the game to continue to grow? Or is it purely just if the Matildas do what they have to do, but just the focus on the women's game here and the Women's World Cup here will be enough to help, I guess, set a foundation for the many years to come?
Yeah, I think just having the World Cup here in general is already putting like a huge spotlight on being able to grow the game in Australia. I think the Matildas, I mean, I think they're the most loved national team. So if they just turn up and play, obviously everyone's going to get behind them. But if they could go deep into the competition, which we obviously all want, and if they won it, like we saw with the Cricket World Cup, Australia doing that on home soil, if they were able to do that, it would be even 100 times bigger than the Cricket World Cup, because it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the world game. And bringing that to Australia would, yeah, it would take it to another level. I mean, there will be growth, even if they don't win it. But I think that getting that ultimate victory would just take football into a whole new conversation.
Definitely, I totally agree. And I think as we see as well with I think Australian fans too, it's we all love sort of the underdog, not to so to speak that the Matildas are an underdog,
Mm,
but when we're doing well, I think people love that and people will get around it. You saw the Men's World Cup. There's so many people. I have friends that
yeah.
aren't really the biggest football heads, and they wanted to come to Fed Square here in Melbourne as well and
Yeah.
be a part of the scenes. And if the Matildas can do that, and we're going to need sort of, I think the football lovers and the ones that originally, I guess, like us, to really push
Yeah.
that at first and then bring the other
Yeah.
people in with us, then, like I said, I think sky's the limit and this should be really exciting. What, before we do leave, what maybe is your prediction, your early prediction for the Matildas and what they can do in the upcoming World Cup? Hate
Like,
putting
how far do I think they're going to get?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, this is such a hard question because obviously I want them to win the whole thing, but World Cups are World Cups for a reason, and it's not going to be easy at all. Um, the thing is, ugh, okay, so if we get out of the group, it really depends if we're going to play England or Denmark, and then I'm hoping we don't come up against England in the round of 16. Mm, I want to say we're going to win the whole thing, but it wouldn't surprise me if we reach just the semifinals.
Yeah, yeah. I
I'm very
mean,
torn.
look, I don't mind it. I think you'd rather us go out against one of the big dogs in the competition as well. In England, we know obviously how good they are, but it's World Cups. You never know what's going to happen. It's 90 minutes.
I
It's
know.
whoever the best team is in that 90 minutes. Now, Michelle, thank you for today's chat. It's been unbelievable. But before you do leave, the way we started the show, we've got to finish it as well. I have Sam German coming on the show after, so I'm not
Okay.
too sure if you're familiar, but give me a question that you'd like me to ask, whether it's football related or as yours, your favorite food from Spain, whatever you want it to be.
I actually work with her boyfriend now, Adamo.
Yeah, yeah. Top guy.
So
Love it,
maybe I'll
Damo.
ask maybe I'll ask a question. Oh, what's the most embarrassing thing he's done?
Yeah, I feel like he's probably done a couple as well.
Yeah, I'm
Awesome.
sure it's something.
Thank you very much for jumping on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'll leave the link to everything in the section down below, in the Instagram, all that sort of stuff. And I'm sure we'll continue to see you on Optus Sport as the tournament goes on as well. So once again, thank you. Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure to tune in for the next one, and we'll see you guys there. Bye.